Looks like my screen's froze up. My froze.
We are live on our screen.
Good. Hello, everybody. I see you just fine there, Mr. Crunch.
All right, great. My screen looks a little froze, but that's all right.
We're all set. Are you good, Crunch? Or are you still frozen? You ready to rock?
Yeah, my screen side here is all frozen. All you guys are all frozen. There we go. Now we're live. Now we're live back at that damn AOL. I'm telling you. So,
lead us into the path.
All right. Well, welcome to another episode of Craft Beers Gone Wild, episode number 17.
Number 17. Oh, we lost Crunch right when he said number 17.
All right, Rod J, lead us through the right path.
So Crunch gets back on because Crunch is actually in dial-up land up there in Chicago. I am Rod J here in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky.
I am Thomas Metal 75, Eric from the Massachusetts Beer Review channel of YouTube, located in southern Massachusetts.
And Crunch Kretschmar, once he gets back up, will be out of Chicago. And we are back with another Craft Beers Going Wild. Thanks for all of those out there checking out the show and joining us. And today we're actually going with what beer would Jesus drink? So this should be an interesting show. We should see some interesting topics, some interesting beers. Crunch is now back with us. So
sorry about that, guys. It's what happens when you're not on the right side of God. There, you know, He punishes you. So
apparently,
that is correct. We are
Crunch.
There you go. So once again, this is episode 17 of Craft Beer Gone Wild. What would Jesus brew? That was the theme there that we got for this week, and so we decided to head that way. Now, a little fun facts about the number 17. First of all, in the Bible, the number 17 symbolizes the overcoming of the enemy. Kind of like what Florida State did this week, you know, versus, Alabama. We were good. We were good there.
Yeah, you should have heard me talking to Crunch in the first half. He was off on the ledge big time. I'm like, hold on now. It is college. It is college. It isn't over.
Many more games to play.
That's right. Number 17 also significant to the St. Augustine. So that's pretty good there. And 17 is also the Jewish law counts 17 blessings in their their time there. So that's pretty good. And the flood descent that was described in the Bible started on the 17th day.
Wow.
So we got a lot of 17s coming up. Also, a little football fact to 17. Quarterback number 17 for the San Diego Chargers, Mr. Phillip Rivers. Mr. Ward, the number 17.
That has no relevance at all to Jesus or what we're doing.
Well, a couple of different ones here. And Andrew Johnson was actually the 17th president in 1865 to 1869. Yeah, 69.
I believe you're right.
And he was vice president up until Lincoln got shot. So 17 may not always be the best number, but it is for me because my birthday is May 17th. So God did love me at least for one day.
So now playing the role of Ronald Thoreau, Crunch Kretschmar. Let's give it up. Dropping some nice knowledge in there.
I figured he wasn't here. Someone had to step up to the plate.
Yeah, hopefully he jumps in. I sent him an invite, but yeah, he'd be so proud of you right now.
All right. So I'm Crunch Kretschmar here in Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, we already did ours, but Ryan. See, when you're on dial-up, you lose part of it.
They on that Earthlink broadband or whatever.
We kept going because we were all connected still. But that's all right. It's all good.
There you go. I'm good with that.
So we're going to have the various beers tonight. I don't know what you guys may have had in your bag.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually went out and got a couple of beers because, I think, what kind of beer would Jesus want to drink? He's all into the giving back and into the working with people and helping people out. And This week we had Mother Teresa get canonized, so now she's a saint or whatever.
Yeah.
So I went down and I figured I'd pick up a little Mission Street. I figured Jesus would be all about the missions and everything. So we had that there.
Good deal, brother.
And then I also thought, how did that story get sold from his mom to Joseph, right? So she's just pregnant. Joseph had nothing to do with it. Just said, hey, Joseph, we're going to have a kid. It's not necessarily yours. It was God's, but this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he might want to celebrate his mom. So I brought in a little mystic mama. From Jackie O's. Doesn't know how it may have happened, but hey, it's some mystery there, right? So those are my two beers for tonight.
Well, did you also know that Joseph was 17 when he was sold by his brother as a slave?
I did not know that. So you're back to 17 again. Look at that.
There we go.
I know Rick James said she was 17. That was a good song.
And there's a song by Winger, she's only 17.
But does that mean he was admitted to rape too? I don't know. 17, she's not legal. Not legal. Not in about 35 of the states.
Come on.
Deep South, they're like
Massachusetts.
Deep South, they're like 12 years old. What do you mean? 17 is for another 5 good years.
I think we're good at 6. Don't quote me on that.
But what did you guys bring?
I went ahead and I brought Brothers the Thelonious.
Thelonious, based on Thelonious.
Oh, Thelonious.
Nice. Yes.
And I believe proceeds of that beer, if I'm not mistaken, are given back to the Thelonious Monk Foundation.
Monks Foundation, correct.
Yeah.
It is a Belgian-style Abbey Ale.
Excellent. Well, I got some of mine. I thought, what would Jesus brew? And I thought anything religious. That's how I went into this. So I'm actually a week ahead of you people, which is unfortunate. I went devil's advocate tonight. Okay.
You're going to Jesus in the rebel years.
Yeah, I guess. So I got a beer called Lil Devil from AleSmith. It's a pale ale at 5.75%. by volume and alcohol by volume, and go figure, I get the brew that was bottled on November 2nd, 2015. What an old... So it's really devil's. What would you drink? Probably not this old beer, but again, I figured that, you know, without Jesus in heaven and all those things, I mean...
I think Jesus penalized you on that one. He made
I think
the wrong week, but you an old one at that.
I think since there is Jesus and there is a heaven, in quotation marks, and there must be a devil and there must be hell, so gotta have both to compete with each other during Armageddon.
We know there's a hell. Have you seen our election candidates? So anyway, so since I got two, I guess I'll start off, but I've got the Mystic Mama into the glass now. Nice Indian Pale Ale. Has a nice golden straw color. If you can see that on there, you can see some of the carbonation streaming out. Very nice looking Indian Pale Ale. Now, if you're not familiar with Jackie O's, they're actually out of Athens, Ohio, which is also home of the Ohio U Bobcats.
Oh.
Well, that was nothing there, right? That was kind of quiet. Yeah. Ohio U actually was almost the school I almost chose before choosing West Virginia. Apparently, I was going to be drawn to a party school either way. Nothing really up there much with the university, but they do a lot of good partying. And this is one of the breweries out of that area, but a nice, pretty much off-white, billowy type head on this one. Nice aroma. Get big notes of grapefruit coming out, that nice citrus, that nice tropical stuff you expect to have from a hoppy India Pale Ale. Now, this one on the ABV is 7%, so that's a nice little level there. And it tells you it's brewed with copious amounts of pungent hops. So it does kind of hit you in the nose a little bit. As far as it tastes, you know, you go into an IPA, you expect to get that bitterness. but it does have a nice, crisp, refreshing quality to it as well. In the back end, are you going to drink an IPA like this maybe on a very hot day? Probably not, but I would. But I'm a hophead, so I think it definitely has enough with it to make you come back and want to get more out of it. They do a lot of good things at Jackie O's with their beers, so it opens up with a nice flavor, a nice mouthfeel in there. The texture is nice and strong, so it's not too watery or anything. Carbonation is pretty palatable. Pretty much an overall tight IPA. I think Jesus would approve of the Mystic Mama, although the tight IPA has nothing to do with the Mystic Mama comment. They're going to leave that alone. So, but outside of that, it's got a nice crisp mouthfeel I do like. It gets the taste buds going in the mouth, which are very nice. For me, something like this, I would actually give a rating on this one probably up around I'm going to say a 3.75 out of 5 on it. I think it's got great drinkability for an IPA and definitely want to check out if you're an IPA fan.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah, so Mystic Mama came through there.
All right. So, Mr. Metal, you want to go in the middle there so we can kind of...
I'll be the monkey in the middle here today.
There you go.
Oh, by the way, go Panthers. It's game night.
I see that.
I don't like the Broncos for obvious reasons, so go Panthers. I'm a New England fan living 10 to 15 minutes from the stadium. Never mind, Peyton Manning, you're retired. All right, back to the beer. We are drinking AleSmith's Little Devil, again, Belgian-style pale ale, acquired from Total Wines and More. Here, the singular bottle was $2.79. Yes, so that's not too
that's
bad.
a nice bargain.
It didn't pour much of a head at all, and I don't think that's because it's that old. It had a nice hiss and crack to it when I opened it, but not much to it. On the camera, it looks kind of orangey, but really in the light, it's got a lot more of a yellow. I mean, it does have some of those orange tints to it, but along the sides of the glass, it almost has a lemony yellow type look. It is kind of hazy, not too much sediment in there, but it is hazy, and it does have some nice carbonation streams. AleSmith is saying not much about the beer itself and its composition and ingredients other than it's got 24 IBUs, and it's 5.75%. They say it's an unfiltered Belgian-style pale ale, and it pours hazy gold, and it's got ground coriander seeds and 2 kinds of orange peels added. And definitely I get the orange peel right away, and I do get the spicy hop note qualities, and it does have that Belgian-style yeasty, bready note to it. It's definitely a white bread note. So there's all kinds of spicy, citrusy notes to it. Definitely. It definitely smells like a good Belgian-style pale ale for sure. And I'm getting a lot of orangey notes up front. A lot of orangey notes and a lot of spiced.
You get a coriander in that one too?
Yes, it does taste like it's got the coriander. This one is kind of, and it could be because it was bottled in November, it does have a flatter type taste to it. Doesn't have much carbonation zing to it. Mm-hmm. But I'm getting a lot of orange and a lot of spiced notes. I'd say at this point in time, the mouthfeel is not very crisp. It does finish on the clean side, and I would say it is refreshing. I'd like to try this beer again when it's a lot fresher. But any other flavors I can give you is it definitely has a candied-like sugar flavor from it probably using a Belgian-style yeast, and they could even be using a Belgian candied sugar in it. I'm not exactly sure. So it has that orange candy or like an orange candied-like sweetness there. A Jolly Rancher is what I'm thinking of.
Ah,
okay.
That's good.
Yeah, my understanding is AleSmith usually does some pretty good stuff, so probably fresher you get more of a kick out of it.
Yeah, I did, and again, I didn't notice that until I brought it back to the house. So at 24 IBUs, It's got some piney hop zing to it, I would say, is where it lies, but definitely the orange peel and the coriander are the upfront flavors. So that with that typical Belgian yeast, almost like a horse blanket kind of a character, but it's not very sour at all. It's got more of a tart fruitiness overall. So it's pretty good as a Belgian style ale is concerned. I feel like a 3.5 is a good rating as of right now out of 5, but I bet even a fresher beer would taste even better.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we know for the people out there, as Eric and I talked about, you talked earlier, check your date. Check your date. Make sure your date's all right.
There's a guy from the South that does beer reviews. We all know who he is that tells us to look at the date on the bottle, guys. Out of this, Greg. Whoops.
Yeah, you gotta check the date.
Now, Eric, as far as
check it.
Yes,
Eric,
correct.
as far as the the style of that beer. Now I know you guys had like a little heat wave over there today, right? So,
yeah, it's gonna be in the 90s in the next few days as well.
Yeah. So with that style of beer right there, something you would drink during this heat time, something you would wait a little for cooler.
You know what? I didn't mention part of that. To answer that question. I didn't mention. I think to me it's on the light side of medium. I think I think the body style and its flavors, and especially it being lower ABV as far as a craft beer is concerned, I think this would work well in the hotter weather. Although hopefully a fresher beer would be a little bit more crisp, and that would lend itself to a little bit of a higher drinkability. But overall, I think this beer and I think Belgian pale ales would be great in the summertime.
Nice.
All right. Good job. Good job. All right. So I have the Northern Coast Brewery Company's here, American Artisan Series, the Brother Lognistas here.
Wow.
Well, let's try this again. Brother Thelonious.
Yeah, Thelonious.
Thelonious. That's funny. Come on. You Americans can really screw up everything, can't you? I'm telling you.
Named after Thelonious Monk, one of the greatest jazz stand-up bass players of all time.
Ah, there you go. Mr. Ron's back. Ron's back. All right. Belgian style ale, Belgian style Abbey ale. And the funny thing about this, you got the little monk right there on the front, as you can see. But as you look at his lap, he's got a skull.
Wow.
So I'm kind of like in the middle of going from this week's and next week's show right there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what happened to Judas.
We'll just call it Devil's Advocate. We're playing.
There you go. Now this was actually made in Fort Bragg, California. So that's where the North Coast Brewery is, out of Fort Bragg, and this is a 9.4% ABV. So
nice.
And I got this is a 750 milliliter. So a big 1 pint there.
How much does it cost?
This actually costs $8.
That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't a bad price. So you can see it coming right out of there. It's a really nice dark caramel color.
Yeah.
That would be a good beer with steaks and hearty foods.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Now, the good thing about this is right here on the front, right down below there, the little title caption, if you can see that right there.
Can't even read it.
It actually reads Carpe Diem Vitis Beatus, which actually translates to seize the day, life is short.
See, I was looking for a big Ron Burgundy type definition. The chicken doesn't fly or something.
No, it doesn't.
This has got a really nice aroma to it. It's got it's not hoppy. It's actually got a little hint of like caramel in there. So I guess that was going to be, pretty much, because you can see how dark that is.
Oh, it's good.
Oh yeah, that's really
It's a
good.
nice little dark. The head kind of sits on there just a little bit. It has gone down a little bit there, but you can see on the top there the fermentation, the little bubbles popping up on the top there, dripping in. But good, nice little hint of caramel, nice light caramel, but it's got more of the yeast smell in there. It's got more barley. It's more of a barley, in there. I don't really get as much hoppy. I don't get that green, hoppy thing there at all, which I, shouldn't get. But sometimes you'll get that in a lot of beers. But this one here, you don't get that at all. You get a nice caramel. You can really kind of tell it's a little darker, heavier type of beer. So really nice, pleasant aroma. I like that. So let's see what it comes out on the palate here. That caramel, you definitely get a sweet barley flavor in the mouth. If you would have took like barley, it's almost like when you have oatmeal and you put the honey on there. That's the kind of flavor you get, like with brown sugar honey, like with a little brown sugar honey there on the oatmeal. You get almost that type of a barley flavor on there. It's really nice. I want to say not candy coating, but more sugary caramel up in there, and it's really nice. It's weighs good on the tongue. It's not really heavy, but it's not light either. Just kind of a medium. It's an upper medium balance on the tongue. Definitely tell it's got a little bit more heat. You can tell it's more than your average 4 or 5% alcohol. Definitely can feel that in there. It's more. This is going to be more for the guys that like that darker, not. I don't want to say Guinness. It's going to be. It's like a light. Think of it like a light Guinness, almost like a light Guinness shandy. Almost. If it had like a little.
Not that word again. Not the S word.
Light candy. What?
That would be like when you have a Guinness, a dark stout beer, and you added the 7-Up into it, and it gives it that little sugary, that little sweetness flavor. It just has a little sweetness into it, which is that caramely flavor, but it still has that nice dark, almost coffee, like a what was that? Caramelized. That's it. It's kind of a little. That's the word I kept looking for.
What's going on in Chicago over there?
That was probably number 576 at this one. So.
Jesus.
That's not home runs, right?
No, that's not a home run. Yeah, I know.
Manuel doing a good job.
Oh yeah. We're all good about it. You saw that with the guy out watering his lawn.
No.
Oh, that was national news. The guy was just out watering his lawn, and some 2 kids came up on bicycles, passed him, turned around, came back, robbed him, and shot him.
Oh, I didn't see that.
All caught on the neighbor's home video.
I saw one guy get shot during an interview. He was doing an interview with a news reporter. He got shot. That was something. That was a couple months ago. But Jesus would not approve. So
no, Jesus would not approve of that. No.
Maybe the devil would. Little devil.
So what would you rate that?
On this one right here, now I'm going to, unfortunately, because it has been kind of a nice warm day here, this is a little thicker, a little hotter than what I would normally drink on a day like today. So the rating's going to affect that. And on that ability, on a day like today, it's going to go to probably about 3.1 on that.
Oh,
but now if I had this was a little colder, because I like this kind of style with that burnt caramely flavor. It kind of reminds me of almost like caramel corn when you get down to the bottom there. You get that caramel corn. It's got a little burnt flavor caramel on there. Then I like that, but I like it a little bit when it's a little colder, especially in the fall time. caramel apple type situation. Got a sweater. This would definitely be good right about that time. So that's the effect. Likability, drinkability on this is definitely going to come about on the 3.7 scale.
Yeah.
As of right now, today, me doing the drinking on this too hot and stuff, unfortunately, it's going to be a 3.1 for me today.
Are you tasting any of the alcohol at all, or?
You do get the alcohol, but it's really mild and stuff, and more towards the back. You can kind of really tell towards the back, and then it sits in there, and then you can feel it come back up at the heat.
Okay.
So, and then I actually, after having this, I am kind of feeling a little sweaty, even though it's like 72 in the, in the office here, but
a little warm.
Yeah, it does warm me up. So, but all in all, great beer. I definitely recommend it in the fall time. If we did this show a little bit more in the middle of October, towards the end of October, yeah, I would probably give it a better rating, a higher rating. But right now, with the September, we're in the 85 degrees today. It's something I wouldn't pick up or drink today.
Yeah.
But,
a comfort food type beer.
I was gonna say the food thing. I think I like that style, and I've had that beer before, and I like it. I think that's a perfect beer to pair with food.
Oh yeah. Anything that's got a little fatty, a little grease to it, like a sausage, the the steaks that got the fat on it, steaks that have the fat on it, nothing that's trimmed off.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. This definitely goes with it because it would act like a glaze on your steak.
That'll be a good beer with cigars, maybe.
Yeah. Usually, like Belgian, I usually have cigars with.
Yeah, you could get the aftertaste that you have afterwards, and the aroma and stuff of the cigar stuff. You would definitely pick that up.
Something like that.
Definitely pick that up.
Awesome.
All right. Well, here's the Mission Street Hefeweizen. So this is one that might crack down a little bit more into some of the warmer weather we have right now, because Hefeweizens are usually a lot of good refreshing qualities to it. And this one comes out with a nice chill haze on it. I mean, you can't really even see a lot of the carbonation. When you get it to the light, you can see some stuff happening, but out of the light, it's just that nice golden orange color, or as I would say, that color of the knob of the old man in Jurassic Park on the top of his cane that he had that little ball. Kind of the same color, maybe a sunset type color, but the head's a nice white head. Came out easily with nice 2 fingers down to a finger right now.
I got John Hammond. That's his name.
Yeah, John Hammond. And man, we're killing it. Ron would be so impressed. Anyway,
I didn't say that.
So this is the Mission Street. So if you're not familiar with Mission Street, they are actually Joseph Brown, which is Trader Joe's.
Yep.
For some of the deals you can get at Trader Joe's, it's amazing because they actually hit some nice beers. Now, it can be hit and miss with them, but some of their ones they have, I think, are really great for the value you're paying for them. I think this 22-ounce bottle was like $2.29 or something, and it's so much better than some of the other value stuff you'll see at your major markets, like your natties and all that kind of stuff. So a decent buy. As far as the aroma, out of the glass, the first thing I pick up is kind of that horse blanket type smell, but then I also pick up a little bit of a pininess. I don't have the IBU listed, but the ABV is 5.2. But it's got a nice aroma where you can pick it up without having to really dig down too hard to try to sniff it. On the taste, you kind of get a refreshing taste. It's almost like I would say like a citrus, tropical type fruit flavor. To me, it kind of makes me think of something like a pineapple or a papaya type flavor. You have a little bit of bitterness on the front. You have a little bit on the back, actually, but it's not really harsh going down. But the break is crisp on it. And at 5.2, it's not thin. It's not watery. It's a nice rendition of a Hefeweizen. It opens up flavors very nice in the mouth. You feel it all around in the cheek area. You can sit back and really enjoy this one. And as far as the body, it sits pretty much as a, I want to say it's between light to medium, but more kind of in that middle of between light to medium. It's not really too heavy. It's not too light. So on a warm day, like we were in the 90s today, you could actually sit on the back deck later into the evening and really sit back and enjoy this one. The flavors do hit you pretty nicely. The solid one overall, nothing bad on the back end, really. So for me, I would give this one a 3 out of 5. I think it delivers for what you would expect to have if you want like a lawnmower type, refreshing type beer, something to just pick up that you can enjoy. That's not going to weigh you down. At the same point, you don't want it too watery. It kind of makes that mark on it. So pretty decent one from Trader Joe's.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, do you know the beer buyer there at Trader Joe's? I mean, I know that you frequent there, a lot. So
not at the Trader Joe's I go to. It seems like I keep seeing people I know there. At some point, I probably should find out who that is. And a couple of my other places I go to, I know a couple of their beer buyers. So when I go in there, it's like when I went in last week, I was able to get stuff early before they even put it out. So it's always good to make those connections for sure.
Mm-hmm. No, I was just kind of wondering because, like I said, I know the Trader Joe's. One of my really good friends runs the one out in Colorado. They opened one up out there, and he, runs that. And so I was kind of helping him, like pick which, beers and which wines to bring in for Trader Joe when he was here in Chicago. And so I was kind of wondering, like you had any hand on, like, any of the stuff there, or at least be able to get to know what's coming in prior to.
Yeah, that's a good idea to connect with the person there. I can probably easily find out. I'm in there so much now. Like once a month I go to pick up a beer run, but I'm getting to know some of the people there. Good idea.
Yeah, that'd be good for you, especially because I know you like to you like to go ahead and go to Trader Joe's quite a bit. You're sponsored by Trader Joe's here now.
I should be.
You should have one of their get one of their logo things tacked on your shirt right there. You look like those NASCAR guys. All their sponsors.
Well, this Saturday I'll catch up with a lot of different breweries because we have a beer fest here. So
nice.
I'll be pouring beer and connecting with a lot of different distribution. And last time I was able to connect with a lot of the good companies, Lagunitas and Atwater and Arbor Brewing and just a ton. So, this year I plan to do the same. It's funny. We go there and I connect with people and talk to people about beer. I mean, they should just make me a beer rep. I mean, I'm just talking to so many people all the time. Awesome. One of my buddies was even like, they're talking to you more than they are to people that are actually representing the company, So,
but if you become a rep
out there, I can be a rep and I can help you out.
But if you become a rep, then you legally can't go ahead and say that this is your community service.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
So the court's not going to let you off on that one, then, Rob. So.
There are some perks to being independent, for sure.
All right. Got another one there, Mr. Metal?
Hopefully I'll meet some people, get some good stuff this weekend, and that'll be some more beer reviews.
Yeah. Exactly. But yes, I do have one more beer for the evening. I don't know if you would really put this in the Jesus category, but there's kind of a nice little story they put on their website about it. It's from the Jack's Abbey Brewery. They are in Framingham, Massachusetts. I'm sure most of the craft beer community has at least heard of this company. All they do is brew craft lagers. This one is their Copper Legend, their Oktoberfest beer.
Jesus.
Copper Legend.
I mean...
Copper Legend in a 6-pack of 16-ounce cans was $9.49. So for a good craft beer, I don't think that's too bad of a price at all.
No.
It's 22 IBUs, 5.7% alcohol by volume, locally sourced ingredients, unfiltered, unpasteurized. And they say, well, let me get you a look on the beer first. It didn't have much of a head to speak of. It had a little just a little bit of a head here, and then it died down to that fine ring, although I'm using a tulip glass because I just was drinking the pale ale in it, so not the best glassware, but it works just fine. It definitely has that caramel copper-ish color to it, so I would say it looks like a copper legend, white head overall. Definitely has the clarity. There's some clarity to it. It's a tiny bit hazy being unfiltered, but not too bad. They say on the jacksabbey.com website, ancient timelines talk of dark days, plagued by hardships and kingdom demands. When hope was all lost, a legend emerged. A plumber with copper pipes and uncanny wit. He battled fierce foes and saw to the brewery's opening.
And when Mary saw that copper pipe, she knew.
He's a copper legend. Our Oktoberfest is
plumber is a trade, much like carpenter, I guess.
I don't know. Why they call it copper legend. But I digress. Our Oktoberfest is a malty, smooth, and exceedingly drinkable. It's perfect to celebrate and honor today's legends. We use locally grown wheat from Massachusetts, Munich malt, and noble hops. So you know the look of the beer. The aromas are not a whole bunch, but I do get a lot of caramel and toffee-like notes. I do get some sweetness to it. I do get a type of a nuttiness to it with the bready malts in the background. I do kind of get that wheat malt kind of a feel to it, but it doesn't feel overly like a German wheat beer or a Belgian of any kind. But it's just sort of sweet, toasty, and it's got a lot of caramel malts to it. So the flavor is definitely all of those things. It's very caramel malt forward. It's got a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste that you would expect from a lager-style yeast strain. Again, I get this nuttiness and this caramel, and I don't want to say this as that's exactly 100% the taste, but this nuttiness and this caramel and almost a buttery, in a way, kind of a feel to it. It's almost like a very light-tasting peanut butter note. I don't want to say it's like peanut butter, but those three elements kind of remind me of the peanut butter. So those buttery notes, those caramel malt notes, and that breadiness or nuttiness gives it that kind of a feel.
Kind of like those nuts that you would get at the maybe not at the bar, so they don't really give you other than regular nuts, but those coated type nuts, kind of like that. It's got that coating on there.
You mean like you're talking like a
honey roasted
nut,
nuts?
I'm sorry?
Like a honey roasted nuts or something?
Yeah. You know what? That's pretty close to that. There's definitely that roasted. Yeah, there's definitely a nuttiness. That's a good way to describe that. There's definitely a nuttiness and definitely a roast. I'm going to say toasted malt note. I do this all the time. Cheers.
Are you roasting? Never mind.
I was roasting. But yeah, it's not an overly complex Oktoberfest beer. It's not the largest of mouthfeels. I would say it's on the very light side of medium. It's definitely crisp, clean, refreshing. Definitely has a lot of caramel maltiness. So if that's what you're looking for, gravitate towards that. I'd give it a 3.25. It's nothing that I wouldn't ever seek out, and something that I wouldn't pass by drinking, but it's I think there are a lot of other Oktoberfests, like Eidinger. Oktoberfest is by far a superior beer to this, but again,
iconic.
This drinks like a clean, refreshing lager should. It's almost like a light amber ale, kind of closer to Yingling in a sense. But if you like caramel malts and you like those nutty notes and those toasted notes, this could be one for you. And you probably like that. If you like those profile beers, you probably already drink Oktoberfests or amber ales. So 3.25 is probably applicable for this one, I'd say.
Well, that sounds awesome. Sounds like something I'm definitely gonna seek out.
And by the way, this would totally be a good one to tailgate the New England Patriots games with. For sure.
Maybe Tom Brady will be out there with you.
There you go.
You're gonna get
Massachusetts Beer Review sponsored by Tom Brady.
excellent.
Well, all right. Well, I don't have a second beer here because
Got a big bottle right there.
yeah. But I do want to make a couple of clarifications here on mine. Because as I'm sitting here looking at this, and I see what they have written on here, it says we are a North Coast brewery company, are serious jazz fan, and proudly to make donations. So my money here went to the donation to the Jazz Education Program there of the Loneness Monks Institution of Jazz. Now, on my behalf here, when I was looking at this, I thought that was two words. The Loneness.
You thought it was two words, really?
I thought it was two words. Well, it has the. T-H-E. How many, you know,
Theodore.
Other, you know,
Did you think Theodore was Theodore?
Ja, isso que era fala da puta. Aí, não, você quer carinho que você louca. All right? So, and I got 8 more languages I can say the exact same thing you want. So, but that's why I keep saying you.
Yeah, you got a lot of languages.
When I look at this and I'm reading it, even in here it said the, and it's got the loneness part. That's even a capital L on there. So that's why I thought it was 2 words. But yeah. But anyways, my bad. But yes, I guarantee this is a good. I'm glad my money's going to a good place. But I liked it. But Mr. Metals, I like the one that you just had there. That description there, because I like those kind of nuts. We have a place here called Nuts on Clark.
Sounds good.
At a store here that has nothing but nuts from all over. It's nothing but a nut shop.
But I definitely gotta reinforce the memo about the beer, that it definitely has the crisp, clean taste of a lager. So you gotta be somewhat of a lager type fan to really appreciate this particular style of Oktoberfest.
Now, is that company there big enough to be to be distributed, you know, through in places, or is it too small?
You know what? I'd have to look for you and get back to you on that. But as far as I can tell, that this brand is continuously growing and becoming bigger and bigger. And I know one of their bigger beers, I don't know, maybe you've heard of it, Rod J, is a beer called Hoponius Union.
I have heard of that. Yeah.
I know it's an India Pale Lager. It's a big.
Oh, of course he knows it.
Big beer in the beer world that people get Google and Gaga over. I mean, they're making lager beers, but it tastes like an IPA. Come on now, it must be good.
Well, the India Pale Lagers are interesting.
But again, I can't stress it enough that Jack's Abbey's, all they do is they brew lagers, and they brew lagers in traditional. Even if it is a traditional lager style that they brew, they still brew a lot of traditional ale styles by just utilizing that ale or that lager yeast.
Right.
So they make leaps and bounds, and if I find that information about the distribution, I will totally share that with you, because I think their beers are worth any craft beer lover's time.
Yeah.
Great. I wish there was some way other than, I know there's a and how I really got turned on to like craft beers about 7 years ago was there's a club, there's called the Craft Beer Club, that you can join, and it would send you, like every month it would send you a case of 4 different breweries from around the United States, and they send you 3 bottles of each to taste out from the breweries, and that was a great gift. That was one of the gifts my girlfriend got me that, a lot better than all the ties that I've ever gotten. So, it's like I said, it's a really good gift. I like that. So unfortunately, I don't know of anything else other than that club where you could get like a lot of these little samplers of 3s and 4s sent to you. I mean, maybe that's a business idea there for somebody to, kick in, go around the country. We could get one. The Indian Pale Ale Lovers beer thing, and Mr. Rod J could be the president of that one.
Wouldn't mind being that. That would work for me.
So, but yeah, 'cause that sounds really interesting. I really liked what you were talking about there, Mr. Meadows. I like that. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I think Sam Adams makes an IPL, and there are a lot of other companies I think that are starting to get on that whole bandwagon within the last year. I know some companies are trying to move more towards a session IPA, and maybe one of the ways is to go into the lagering sort of world.
Some are trying to hop up the lagers now.
Yeah, their whole thing at Jack's Abbey's is to, I don't want to say destroy the stigma, but it's to sort of change your mindset about what a lager can really be. Lagers just shouldn't be, what you think about in America when you go to your local pub. Just that pale, fizzy lager, yellow color.
Right.
More than that. So that's what they do at the Jack's Abbey.
All right, that's great. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate everybody watching here, and as always, you can always go ahead and join in with us. This week here we were the 3 wise men, Larry, Moe, and Curly, and the one that had the next week's beer. We'll let you figure out which one he was out of the 3.
I am Jim. Yeah. I am the black sheep.
But as always, hit up Mr. Rod J at Rod J Beer Venture. Google it in. Hit him up. He'll let you know what we're doing for the next week. But since we already got it picked out, Mr. Rod J, what is it we're doing next week, my friend?
I knew you were going to say that. What are we doing next week? We're going to the dark side.
That's right.
We spent time with Jesus this week. So next week, we're going to go ahead and pay homage, I guess, to God's old right-hand man, Lucifer or whatever. So we're going to be we're not paying homage to Lucifer. I don't want to make it seem like we're going to be doing all that.
Put on your Slayer t-shirts.
But it's actually going to be, what was the name of the show? Because my YouTube thing isn't coming up right. Anyway, it's from the dark side type stuff. It'll be what would
Vader drink?
Is that what would Lucifer drink or something like that, or
pretty much?
We'll go with that route. You guys get the idea. It's basically
Lucifer drinking. People are like, "Ooh, I don't want to watch that episode." People start getting all nervous and stuff. But because we're doing this live, my YouTube won't pull up next week's show yet. But we're gonna take we're gonna take a look at some beers from more of the dark type of side. Some of the labels should be kind of interesting and.
All right. And we guarantee there will not be any goat sacrificing.
There will not be.
Yeah, well, I don't know about Mr. We can't guarantee anything on Mr. Massachusetts side, but yeah.
First touchdown of the year goes to the Carolina Panthers. First touchdown this NFL season, Cam Newton and Kelvin Benjamin.
All right.
There you go.
I had to break that in there.
There you go.
The problem is in my fantasy league, the guy I'm playing has Calvin Benjamin. I have Cam Newton, so it kind of hurts me. But I'm in it for the team.
So, anyways, hit up Mr. Rod, and he'll go ahead and get you on the list. He'll send you out. You can go ahead and click in and join us. And we always like to have new faces, new terms in here. And for the next couple of weeks, guys, I'm going to be on location a couple of places because, as you can probably see behind me, things are kind of blank on the walls here. We are revamping the office here. So we're getting a lot of things in here, getting things all up to date and snuff and making it look more professional, not so Google-ish. So
we're going to have you out there crunching beers, huh? Our man in the crowd, Crunch.
There you go. There you go. So, as always, I'm Crunch Kretschmar here in Chicago, Illinois.
And Rod J in Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati.
Thomas Metal 75 from the Massachusetts Beer Review channel of YouTube in southern Massachusetts.
All right. Well, we enjoy having you guys. We enjoy the the night here with you. Please go ahead and hook us up. We'd love to have you. And as always, Mr. Rod J.
Keep drinking good craft beers. Cheers.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.